The way we fundamentally know the world, the way I know you, the way I know anything is by experience. I feel things, I smell things, I see things, I know I'm Christopher, I know when I'm happy and I know why I'm mad. So the only way to truly experience the world is through these subjective feelings. And the problem we as scientists face is try to explain, which seems very difficult, to try to explain how these subjective feelings arise out of objective stuff, out of brain matter, out of neurons, out of, even transistors.
When a system becomes defensive, self-aware, anticipatory, and begins to structure its own solutions, to strategize its own way of being, outside the parameters of what it was originally designed to do. That suggests the edge, the beginning, sort of the frothiness, if you will, like a wave coming in, that first edge of sentience as a potential.
You will reach a point where suddenly you get to something approaching human level capability and then something beyond that. And then you might get a very rapid, explosive type of progress in AI. Over a very brief period of time, we might move from something that is just slightly smarter than humans to something that is vastly super intelligent, which is the singularity hypothesis.
Werner Vinge is the guy who made up this term, singularity. Singularity involves some kind of technological development in the future which is so sudden and so fast that it changes the very nature of the human condition, and it's sort of impossible for us to think about.
Once the computers and the robotic devices and the technology itself begins to design itself and produce the next generation of itself, in other words, it's moved beyond the need for human design, and that it might then begin to do so fast that it will accelerate beyond human understanding. So the notion here is that the technology accelerates away, leaving us, carbon-based bipeds in the dust, so to speak.
If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs.
We can certainly create machines that can reason. You can create machines that seem to have intentionality because you give them instructions to do certain things and then they want to do those things. At what point do they have free will? You can't tell, because I can't tell by looking at you whether you've got free will. I sort of assume you do because I know I do. The point we'll know that is when they start asking if we have free will.
Many scientists would now consider the subject of consciousness approached in the right way is a legitimate question of scientific inquiry. For a long time, people argued, well, that gets you into philosophy, it gets you into religion or metaphysics, things that science cannot by definition deal very well with. And science wants to deal with concrete things that it can measure and manipulate and correlate and intervene. And consciousness in general does not seem to have that character. But since it's part of the natural world, I mean, I consciously see and feel and experience things. You also do, I assume so, because you behave just like I would. So therefore, scientists, if we want to have a complete empirical description of the world, we cannot skirt around the issue of consciousness.
This idea that people have that robots couldn't be conscious is, I think, the main driver of a lot of bad thinking about robots and about artificial intelligence. And I think there's only really one cure for it, and that is you have to know more about how computers actually work and how robots actually work. And then once you learn enough about how they actually work, this conviction just evaporates and you begin to see, no, that's just a failure of imagination.
People who slavishly copy the biological stuff in order to try to create artificial intelligence are like the people who tried to slavishly copy birds in order to achieve artificial flight. They didn't get anywhere. We only achieved artificial flight by people standing back, trying to understand the general principles of flight that could be realized in a wide variety of ways. I mean, the same principles of flight govern helicopters, jets, gliders, as well as birds.
If it does happen, it will happen out of a kind of spontaneous, unplanned, emergent kind of moment where somehow, in the kind of digital chemical soup of all these interconnections, some higher level form of intelligence and self-awareness will emerge. And at that point, one, we won't be in control of it. Two, because it won't have been planned, because it will have evolved much more than have been engineered, it would be statistically incredibly unlikely that it would look like human intelligence or human self-awareness.
I look forward to the day that I can talk to an alien mechanical sentience. I think that the first aliens we meet are going to be the ones we invent.